Roberson's got an interesting history, and largely it's the story of philanthropy. The institution exists because Roberson Mansion was a gift to the community from Alonzo and Margaret Roberson. They were the ones who owned the house. Alonzo was a lumber guy. He had one of the largest lumber mills and millwork on this side of the Mississippi, and they had no children. So when the two of them passed away, they left their home essentially as a community center. It was designed for people to come in and use for all different purposes. I mean, there were ballet classes in the mansion. There were painting classes, and it's all written out in Alonzo's will. It's like it was this like really progressive, forward-thinking idea that like, hey, we have this giant house, and there's no point in selling it, so let's leave it to the community that helped make us wealthy, the community that supported us, the community that we love. And so they did, and it has grown since then. Obviously, there's been additions and wings put on, and we do many more things than what was originally part of the will in the 1950s, but it was a gift. It was a generous gift for the community to come in and use the house as needed for whatever purposes came up. Yeah, so Alonzo is a junior. So his dad came up from, I want to say, like what we would call downstate, but New York City people would call upstate. So, like, down in like the Westchester area, I think. Margaret, his wife, I believe she was born here. Her maiden name was Hayes, Hays. Um, and she was a school teacher until she met Alonzo in her 20s, at which point she very reasonably retired from teaching in her 20s in order to be a socialite. They had other homes too. This was not their first home. They had another one on, I think it was Main Street in Binghamton, and then they had a vacation home in the Thousand Islands. But yeah, like super interesting people, very philanthropic. They were largely locals. Alonzo was an only child, so he did not have any like brothers or sisters to speak of. His father had remarried at one point. Alonzo's mother died, and his father remarried, and I think they had a child who passed away very young. Um, so really, there were some cousins. Alonzo's father was one of many children, but no other real close family to speak of. They had a really large footprint locally. I think there were other mills, but I believe the biggest one was in Binghamton. And as I understand it, he was also a very generous employer. There was they also had, I think there was like a baseball or a softball team, Roberson Lumber softball team. When work slowed down, there was like a small recession at the beginning of the 20th century. When work slowed down at the lumber mill, he continued paying all of his employees to work on his house. But also, like, we have records of him, like, helping several of his employees buy homes, and then he would, like, forgive their loans. For the time, they were really very wealthy. And they had this feeling of the importance of giving back, doing the right thing. How much do you really need? You can't take it with you, so what do you do with it? And they took care of people who took care of them. Yeah, the museum has we have been here for 70 years, and I am optimistic that the museum will continue for another 70 years. That is largely thanks to the support of philanthropists, and it's kind of like, if you believe in a thing, if you want a thing to succeed, If you want if you want it to be there for, whether the thing is there just for you or whether it's your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, or just the betterment of society, and you contribute to that in some way, that's philanthropy. It's giving, it's donations, and you do not have to be worth billions of dollars to do that. I think we all are philanthropists in our own way. I donate to causes that are important to me, of course, Roberson being one of them. Um, do I think of myself as a philanthropist? No, but that's what it is. It's giving. It's philanthropy.